being productive today. So we're going to be messing with a space heater. Yes, one of the space heaters that one of my kids messed up, and I told them to throw it away, but they didn't. So we're going to fix on it, tinker around with it, and see if we can't save each other some money. All right, let's get right into it. So this is the space heater. It's just a Honeywell space heater. I think we got it from Walmart, and we had it for about 1 year, which is not long enough for this thing to actually break or burn out. But what we saw is when we started to turn it on one day, it decided to start smoking and it burnt out. Of course, we unplugged it real fast and kind of wrapped it up to throw it away. Here's a better look at you can see it where it actually burnt out at. So we're gonna tinker around with it, try to see if we can't fix it and save $40. Okay guys, the first part of starting any video is to let you guys know that I am not a professional electrician, nor do I claim to be. This is strictly for entertainment and learning purposes only. Remember, I'm a regular guy like you guys. I'm just trying to figure out how to save us both some money, and how better to do that than to go through this stuff. Before you start any project, the first thing you want to do is make sure you got all of your tools of the trade that you need to do this job, as well as all of your PPE, your personal protective equipment. That's your glasses and your gloves, whatever you need. Make sure you have that. This space heater, when I looked at the bottom, in particular, it had these security bits or star bits. I don't know the correct terminology for these things, but it has one of those, which if you do not have, make sure you have some kind of security bit before you start these jobs. If you can get a better look at it right here, it has a little hole in the middle of that star bit. That way it can fit inside, and then it can do the job, turn, loosen and tighten. With just a regular one, it would not fit in there because of that little security piece in the middle. So make sure you got that bit. Make sure you got all the stuff you need to do this job before you start. You don't want to be running back and forth, while you're trying to do these jobs, because you won't finish them. First thing you want to do is loosen up all these. Make sure you do it by hand. Don't do it with the tool, a power tool, because sometimes it can be pretty tight and they'll strip out the screws, and we don't want that. We don't want to make more work for yourself. So I already loosened these up. So you want to go around, loosen them up, take them out. Once you get all of them out, you should be able to take it off. Always be careful with this stuff. You don't want to snag a cord, tear something up. Kind of jiggle it. Okay, now that we got this bottom plate off, you can kind of take the time to really look around and see the insides of this thing, how it works. And the first thing I noticed is I figured it would have failed right here to where it was pinched off at and bent off at, but it actually didn't. It failed on the outside, which means it was probably just because of stress. The kids moving it around, tying it up, wrapping it up when they're cleaning up. And I figured it would have failed somewhere on the inside where the circuit board was. But when I looked at it, it's actually not one piece. It's actually a split right here, which means it's probably have some kind of either wrap or splice right here, which I would have expected it to fail, but it was weird. It was on the inside, so or outside, so that's a good thing. So first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this piece off right below where it fell, maybe an inch lower, and probably a little higher right here. So we'll probably lose around 2 inches of cord, but that's okay. If it's going to save us 40, I'll lose 2 inches to save us 40. All right, I don't have anything too heavy duty to cut this, so I'm gonna try to use my needle nose pliers to see if it'll cut it. And voila, I did. A little bit up above that stress point right there. Do the same thing. Cut that off, discard. Take a good look at it. Just a stress. This is a shear stress that probably what did it. And here's where we will either join in the inside. What I'm thinking about doing is just pulling this inside and maybe splicing it right here and then being done with it. But we can take a look at what's going on inside right here and see what they did to join these two. But then you're going to lose about a good 6 to 8 inches of cord if we do decide to go in and do it that way. So since we're here, we might as well look at it and see what it looks like on the inside. I went ahead and cut the zip tie off to see what's underneath this rubber coating, just so we can get a look at it. All right, we got some soldered wire right here, and it's soldered on both ends. So we're not going to mess with that. We're going to leave this alone. snip that off. We're done with that. Now because it is what we're gonna do is cut off the excess wire, and then we're gonna splice the cords back together. It's perfectly harmless. This is what we do when you're making lamps or putting new wires on back refrigerators. It's nothing new. So what we're going to do is do the same thing to both sides. Strip the wire cover off both ends. Basically splice them back onto them. Put some safety covers back on. Wrap it up with electrical tape and be done. Now that we got both ends of both wires stripped, we can go ahead and either twist, or there's different methods. There either the methods where you twist like this and then you get the heat shrink coating to put on there and coat, or you can do the regular twist method. And the way we can tell that they're the same cord as the other side is luckily this heater right here had two different cords on both sides. This one has serrated covering, and the opposite side has a smooth coating. So otherwise, I would just kind of, before you make a cut, just paint one yellow or one red. That way you know what end belongs to the other and you won't get them all mixed up. So I'll just twist. And I have these electrical covers that go on the out that you can twist on. And then get your and then what we're going to do is get some electrical tape and kind of tape that up. Sometimes you might have a little difficulty getting the wires or the cords to go back the way you kind of want it to go because you're making some alterations. You're going to have that issue. What we're going to try to do is whatever makes sense to the flow of the wiring. So I think that might work. You can start putting your screws back in. Remember, don't tighten any screw all the way down until you got all the screws in. And also, this is a chance to switch screws. If you don't like that safety screw that they got, this is the time to switch them out with a different screw, Phillips head, more than likely. Whatever you feel like putting in there, this is the time to do it while you got all the screws out. Now that we got everything back together, now it's time to see if this thing works. Go ahead and plug it back in. This thing does have a safety switch on the bottom, so we want to make sure that it's voila. Heat coming out. It's heating up. This is a space heater, so guys, make sure that if you're doing this, make sure that you put it somewhere like in your workshop, somewhere it's a concrete. Monitor it for a couple days. Use it in these places. If it's okay, then it should be okay to move back into the house. Like that old saying goes, there's nothing to it but to do it, guys. Want to save some money? You're gonna have to put in some effort. Don't be afraid. Get your hands dirty. Get into it, because we're all trying to save some money, and we all want our family to be safe and warm, and you get some gratification knowing that you can do that. All right, guys, let me know if you got any value out of this video. From time to time, I like to put in some value and give you guys something you can learn, and hopefully I'm doing that. So until next time, everybody,